she is. Good old California Delta. Last couple of videos, we had a tournament out here, 2-day tournament, and it was brutal. It was a grind. I mean, there was fish biting, but to catch fish over 14 inches was the tricky part. Actually didn't even get a limit on day one. Again, fish were biting, but the bigger class fish, the famed Delta giants that everyone talks about, no clue where they went. I am just about to pull in. Today we are in the Central Delta, and coming here not because I want to go catch a bunch of small fish, but I don't know. The Delta, the way it fishes, the way it sets up, for me personally, it's still a lot of fun. You're fishing shallow, power fishing, fishing grass, frogs, top water, punch. You know, I definitely would rather do that than go somewhere else like a lake and fish a jig or a drop shot real deep right now, at least this time of year. I don't know, there's still some big ones swimming around, so the potential is definitely there. But it is just about 5:40. I'm gonna get the kayak rigged up, ready to go, put her on the dolly. We'll launch. It's gonna be a hot one today. It's gonna hit 100 degrees by about 11:30. So probably a shorter day. Of course, take you guys with me. And as always, you'll see what happens, how this day unfolds, whether it's a good day, fantastic day, an epic fail. You just never know. So I'm excited. California Delta, it's hot. Hopefully the fishing is hotter. Here we go. One thing I've been doing a lot more of lately, which I'm not sure if it even really has made a difference, it doesn't hurt me though, is I've launched the kayak and really not gone too far before fishing. I don't know why, just always had the tendency to make super far runs before I start fishing. I don't know, just getting to work quicker. Easy to do on the Delta though, everything looks good, especially on high tide. You know what? I forgot. There's a MLF tournament out here right now. It's a Thursday. I forgot that. I think they start their 3-day events on Thursday and go Friday, Saturday. Crap. I don't know how many boats it is, but if I had known that, I wouldn't have come out here. I thought it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's a handful of people going south, that's for sure. One thing that'll be kind of cool actually is today, I'm going to stay out of their way as much as I can, even though none of those boats stopped here, so that could be bad. But it will be interesting to see maybe their results today, kind of compare how we do to how their results are. You know, if I have a really tough day or a really good day today, do they translate the same thing? It'd be kind of neat to see. That's crazy though, dude. There's like at least 25 boats that just went past me. I hear the straggler boat coming in late, or passing me late. Is that root beer? Actually, I do think Obity is fishing this tournament, so he probably is out here. I don't know if he's got root beer yet, though. I think she's still in the hospital. This was the tournament last week. This. Oh, that was, well, I guess that was a little bit of it. I think I caught 2 stripers during the tournament. Striper, huh? I was gonna say, that was the tournament last weekend, was just 8 to mainly 12-inch fish. Every so often you get a 13 and change and it would tease you. I think it might hit that 14-inch mark, but man, really hard to do. I think we had 25 people fish that tournament and only 5 people came in with a limit for both days. It's just wild. there was one with him. Same fish. Ah, yeah. Baby striper bite, huh? All those baby bass turn into baby striper. Yeah, they hit it hard though, don't they? Imagine what a big one would do. Whoa, big wake right there. That was a big one. That was a big one, whatever. Oh, got it. Yeah, I don't know if that was it, but it's definitely a striper. Has to be a striper. Yeah, it's a striper. Well, that's a more fun one. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing this all day. It's fun bites. Fun bite. Man, I thought it was way bigger. Fun bite though. Oh, dude, you can see him. Look on the graph. Wow. Call up a big one. Man, do I have a jig head with a swim bait? I don't think I do. I really don't. It's crazy. That's just not something I throw out on the Delta right now. Let's see if we can call up some of those big girls with a bigger walking bait. Yeah, some big ones down there. Some good marks. The thing about striper too is they can move real quick.
I'm gonna take the chunk and I'm gonna try to come right out in between those dimples on that part, just like that, right there.
Freaking swim jig. Man, that didn't take long. Alright, catching some striper. Oh, that line's swimming off. Man, that was like the third cast for the swim jig. I didn't even feel that bite. Just swam off with it. I had one follow it in. Jeez, another small one. Looks like these striper, maybe they're like tucked up against the bank. Now, let's make a little move. See if we can go find some green ones. I guess largies want the swim jig too. Ooh, that's cool. You long-time viewers know that it's been quite a while since I've thrown a swim jig. Actually, this is like the extra long-time viewers, because the last time it really was a prevalent bait for me was, I think, 2014, actually in New York. And there really wasn't all but 2 or 3 videos with some swim jig fish. They were good fish, and I don't know, New York though, they kind of bite everything there. Are you not? Oh no! That's another good one, I think. Oh, he's still on. They're way back in the grass, or the reeds. Dude, if I lost that fish, I say this all the time, but if I lost that fish, that would have been a 5-pounder. Little swim jiggy. I'm not gonna lie, I was literally YouTubing this morning on how to, like, the best way to put a trailer on a swim jig. Just seen mixed results, and I watched a video with John Cox, and this is what he recommended. I don't think this is the exact trailer, but it was something similar. I've seen people do this in the past. It's not a secret, and I just have never really done it. Look, I mean, rigging a jig with a trailer like that just looks so goofy. I mean, it's probably more about the action than the presentation, and it's got that free swing, of course, like that, and then doing what we're doing, just pulsing it, kind of gives it that, it's like that subtle vibration, like less than a chatterbait, of course. Probably could have beefed up my line, maybe even gone braid. I got a little bobber stop right there just to prevent the tag ends from hanging up on any delta grass or snot. Oh. I just got another one, a little one, I believe. Man, oh man, if you were to ask me what I'd like to punch, this will be it. With the only exception maybe being on a slightly lower tide. This is exactly what you want, or what I'd like to punch. I think that was our most productive bait during the tournament. As far as just getting bit, I haven't thrown it a whole ton today, but yeah, that's the size I was catching during the tournament. Any more of that, might need to get rid of this guy if that's the size we're gonna catch on it. I don't know, it's gonna be interesting to see the results. I'm definitely curious to see how those guys do today. I mean, they're pros, they're in boats, but I cannot imagine, like, for this tournament, the Toyota Series, MLF, cannot imagine there's gonna be too many big bags. I mean, just based on what I've seen today, or fished today, and based on last weekend, it seems like it really sucks out here. I really do feel like whatever happened here, there is less big fish in the system. I know for a while, kind of just was thinking maybe they got flushed somewhere else, they're buried in the grass, or just doing funky things. I think there's a massive die-off here. I think a lot of those bigger fish, not all of them, I think a lot of them are dead. They're gone. It's going to take a few years. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I feel like it's going to take a few years for the Delta to turn back around and show some good fish. There we go. Oh, thought I had one. Look at that fish, guys. That's a 10-pounder. That's a 10-pounder. That is a 10-pounder. Oh my god. Can you believe that? I thought it was a carp. If it ain't 10, it's close. It's the biggest delta fish I've seen in, like, I don't even know how long. But it had to be 10. That's, yeah, it's legitimately the biggest fish I've seen, not just on the Delta, everywhere, in a long time. Alright, maybe they're still here. That was cool just to see that fish. Just to see a giant swimming in the Delta. and some cruisers, including that giant. Big fish of the day. That's pretty sad. We're on 10-incher or keeper? 10-incher. Make that 8-incher. Oh my god, I got a punch fish. Tide's dropping. Maybe they're going to start moving under the mats. That would be welcome. Oh, 10:30. Pretty dang tough. Tide's getting low, so there's gonna, I mean, it's weird. It's just like last time. Your last tournament, essentially junk fishing, just throwing what looks good in front of you, and every so often you get a bite on something and you think, all right, maybe that's a pattern, and I gotta go with it. Well, nothing. Thought maybe that punch deal meant something, but it was just a random fish. Oh, there's a fish. I mean, in like 3-4 years, these are all gonna be good fish, right? Just gotta wait 3 or 4 years. Oh, that was cool. I saw him track that thing. Wow. Are you guys maybe not on the bank? That thing is out in the middle of nowhere. Now I'm intrigued. Now I'm intrigued. Drag was too loose. Little fella. Yeah, just fishing this offshore grass out here. There's fish out here. Just, I don't know if that bigger one's gonna send us on a wild goose chase like all the other baits and make me think this is the ticket. It might, well, maybe it is. Oh. Getting a little bigger. Getting a little bigger. Trending in the right direction. Dang crankbait, huh? I don't know. Oh, there's a good one. Yeah. There we go. There's a nice one. meaty one. All right, well, going with this offshore deal. It's funny. Doing this time of year in the summer on the Delta, it's like the last thing I'd expect them to be biting, or at least like to get keepers. You think punch, frog, chatterbaits, cranking's usually early on in the year for me. Oh, one. Wasn't the same fish, was it? Ooh. One foot to the left with that bait flying back, and been wearing a bait in the face. Oh, it was a fish. I thought it was, I mean, it was definitely hung in the grass, but a little fish on there too. Big one. Big one. Suckers are out here. Son of a gun. That's a good one. Son of a gun. Not a tournament, so it doesn't really hurt that bad, but I would have liked to have that one. It's a good one. Big fish of the day for sure. Man, you guys are out in the middle. Weird. Kind of stings a little bit, actually. Got a tough day, you catch a million dinks, and one big one comes off. I don't know why he came off. Just turned his head right at the boat and popped off. Alrighty folks, that is going to do it for today's day out on the California Delta. Woo! I guess the fishing really didn't improve or change much compared to the tournament last video. Pretty stingy as far as getting quality fish. A lot of fish biting, but they're all those 6 to 12 inch bass. Started out this morning on a really high tide. I mean, launching, we're almost up into the road, it felt like, with that water. But launch, got moving, started fishing right away, started throwing some moving stuff, some buzz baits, bladed jigs, and eventually switched to a topwater, a little popper, kind of a go-to bait right now on the Delta for me as far as topwaters go. And got some bites, except wrong species. Some really tiny little striper were biting it. Did have one actually swirl on it and then come back and get it, which was, I don't even know, probably not even a keeper, but fun bites. Topwater, any species I'll take no matter what. And I did see a bunch on the graph. They must have been in the channel just coming up and smoking bait or whatever, so I thought I could call some up with a walking bait, and nothing. I don't know what the deal was. One theme, at least in the morning today, it seemed like, was that fish wanted baits in the strike zone longer. Like I said, through the buzz bait, through the chatter, a lot of moving stuff, and didn't get any bites. So I don't know if that walking bait was just moving a little too fast, because the popper, when in place, would get bit. And the other thing that kind of confirmed that was, did actually fish a swim jig of all things. I know a few of you guys out there have been telling me to throw a swim jig. Put a little chunk trailer on there, just a nice little bluegill imitator, and got some bites. Striper, of course, to start, but then caught a few bass on the swim jig. And again, the bait was in the strike zone longer, kind of just working that bait real slow, hovering it over the grass. And I didn't even feel the bites. I think those fish were just kind of right behind it, would suck it in and then swim off to the side. So I thought maybe that was something, but I don't know. It kind of just turned it into a junk fishing kind of day, just like it's been. Throw what looks good, depending on what's in front of you. And that's what we did. Did end up busting out the worm, because the bite did seem actually tough at one point. Caught some on a worm. Did see a, I can't say because I've never caught one, nor have I seen one in the water that I know was that size, but I saw a monster, one of the biggest bass I've seen in a long time. So I guess there are some big fish that still exist in the Delta, but man, it was just tough. I think I caught a punch fish, and then after that punch fish, punch, 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 no more more punch fish. Man, I threw the frog over some nice cheese mats, and by this time, the water's getting low, the tide is really starting to get low, so man, they should be under the mats, eating the frog, eating the punch, and just couldn't get him to go. Found the nursery, caught a bunch of dinks on the worm, but they were doing exactly what all the fish in the system should be doing. There was just this big football field of mat, and the tide was so low that it just sucked all those fish to the outside, and you could see all those dinks. Just, I guess there weren't any good ones in the mix. Yeah, I mean, covered water. One thing I did not try was going offshore. I was fishing an island. I went inside in the middle of the island versus fishing the inner rim. There's some grass out there, and there's about 2 foot of water beneath the tips of the grass. And I was just kind of following that grass line, and the most productive bait by far today was the crankbait. Kind of weird for me this time of year, summer fishing. Usually I kind of forget the square bills, the crankbaits. Those are early spring, winter deals for me out here, but for whatever reason, the action, the fleeing bluegill, the lower tide, the area, the color, I have no idea, but it was working. That crankbait was getting bit today, and finally got into some better fish offshore in that grass. It was weird, you know, I was thinking basically opposite logic from this morning, that I had to throw bait that was going to be in their strike zone longer, but the crankbait obviously moves pretty fast. So I don't know, I think it was just the action and that lowering water, all those bait fish, everything in the system fleeing, and I think some of those fish in the grass were setting up and eating either bluegill or bait fish. So that crankbait bite was fun, salvaged the day somewhat. Definitely a nice little bonus at the end of what would have been a really tough day. Now, as I'm recording this, I know that the MLF, I mentioned at the beginning of this video when we saw all those boats go by, I think it's a Toyota Series tournament going on right now, which didn't know, and had I known, I probably wouldn't have come out here. But as of right now, they're probably heading in. I don't know what standings are, but let's pop it up here on the screen. You know, granted, they're pros. I mean, those are professional fishermen, so I'd expect the weights and the scores to be good, at least for a percentage of them, but I'd be curious to see, and as we look, and as I don't know, but these scores right here, what it is to lead. Was there a big fish caught? Top 10, and even limits, how many limits were caught? Yeah, kind of interested to see how the tournament results ended up for them on a stingy California Delta. But guys, it is just about 2 o'clock. It is hot. You can tell I'm sweating. Probably should turn my car on. That is going to do it for today's video. Another grinder, another dink fest out on the California Delta. Hey, at least we're out on the water catching some fish. I enjoy it still. You can't beat it. But as always, thank you guys for watching, for coming along. Now we'll catch you guys in the next one.